In the wake of that result released by WAEC, of course, you hear what happens in JAMB and various other results. To talk about all of that and a lot more, we're joined this morning by Professor James Makinde, who is the President and Vice Chancellor of Babcock University. Thank you for coming on this morning, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's indeed raising a lot of concern, the standard of education, to the extent that, I mean, everyone wants to see us, up there in terms of our standards. But of course, it won't come easy. But what can you tell us about what you've seen happening in the education sector and possibly way out?
Yeah, I believe that really it has to do with what institutions we're talking about. And I was really amazed that between last year and this year, for instance, the WAEC results, I understand that there was 38.5 passes of English and mathematics and plus 3 other subjects that could qualify them for university entry last year. This year it was 31.5.
I think it was 2 years ago. I think last year.
Last year was about
36.
So it's a gradual receding of the pass rate. And you're wondering, like Babcock University High School also had a recede because they normally scored 100% every year. But this year they scored only 99.5%. So which is a 0.5%, and you're wondering exactly. But I think overall it has to do with the quality of teaching as well as the quality of the overall socio-economic level of the country. Because the students, the pupils, nutrition has a lot to do with education, how much you comprehend, how much you retain, then even the teachers themselves, there's a lot of strike disruptions and all of that. There's a lot of socio-political upheaval, to do this Boko Haram, something else. The mind of the pupils may not be really as settled as it used to be. Plus, even the quality of the learning environment itself. Everything goes to impact on the level of education. So I don't believe it's just a single problem. If it's a single problem, then it has many facets, many sides.
Those you've talked about, you've cut across a plethora of things: the environment, the society, the quality of teaching, you've even roped in government in terms of like the infrastructure that they use for the process. But at the end of the day, in looking for a solution, where do we begin to find a solution to the decaying educational sector? Where do we begin?
It has to do with everybody. All hands have to be on deck. Government, parents, teachers, proprietors.
There has to be a starting point. As they say, journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So there has to be a starting point. Where do we begin?
As an educational administrator, I start with me. For instance, I believe that I need to begin to do what I can do, and that's what we try to do at Babcock. First, we try to lay an example. You only teach what yourself you are doing. On the side of the teachers, I believe that the teachers need to take the job more seriously because, hey, if there's an African proverb that says that if the rich people don't help the poor people to train their children, the children that they have trained will be made miserable by the children of the poor that were not trained. In other words, teachers themselves need to be more proactive. Parents, teachers can do very little if parents are not cooperating. At Babcock University, we have what we call the Parents Consultative Forum. Even for university students, we have a one-on-one relationship with the parents, which means we let them know everything that's going on. We share our challenges with them. And you'll be surprised when parents are brought in, most of the parents desire the success of their children. So they are responsible, they behave responsibly. But where you have the parents who are the ones actually paying contractors to go and take exam for their students, who are paying invigilators not to come into the exam hall so that they could bring in people to help their children, who are purchasing results, fake results, for their children to enter universities. Parents have a very big role, major role to play. So it's not just one single contributor. It's like, an ailment that has so many viruses digging in to pull it down. Parents, teachers, government, the enabling environment. Policy, for instance. Today you have one policy, tomorrow you have something else. All the policy flips and somersaults don't help. You can't even tell. So in times past, for instance, accreditation for universities, inspection of schools and facilities used to be responsibility of government. Today, universities have to pay even to get accredited. So you are the one that pays the bill for people who are coming to accredit you for courses.
Wait, is that what happens now?
Yeah.
You pay the bills, like accommodation.
You don't pay those who are coming to accredit, you pay the NUC.
To come and accredit you.
Mm-hmm. Because, there used to be 3 universities, then 6 universities. Then right now you have 129 universities in the country. And so an NUC does not have a pool of its own. They still use university personnel. So they have to mobilize them. They have, the NUC budget is limited. So they have to still perform their roles, which means the end users have to come into it. So it's not really a problem of the NUC, but the NUC is making sure that they do their duty regardless of whatever. So the university end users have to come in. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that it's a changing strategy of implementation. If that happens and you get a real quality assessment, I believe then that and that's why sometimes it's not realistic for many of the young people who feel that education is free. Nothing valuable really can be free.
Now, looking at the site, looking at the many components, one of them obviously is teaching. As an administrator, what challenges would you say you've encountered in recruiting personnel for children or for students?
First, you have to even test whatever personnel you are receiving from anywhere else. The fact that somebody has certification from a recognized or accredited university does not mean that they have the substance that you're looking for. And then many of the people that have the substance don't have the character that you're trying to instill in your students.
That could be a more difficult test, because how do you test character?
You test character by the referees that somebody brings. Like, I would never write a character reference for somebody that I cannot guarantee, because every referral that I give to somebody, I'm actually recommending myself. If I recommend somebody and then he messes up where he's gone, the next recommendation that comes from me, they will just simply throw it in the garbage. So we start out by a background check. Then we go to referrals, referees. And finally, everybody that comes into the university system, into the educational system, comes in on a 1-year probation, during which time we have the material time to check you out. How are you doing? And then we have checks and balances. In the university system, I don't know elsewhere, but there is a quality control system where we check what is going out to the students in the classroom, how teachers are interacting with students outside. You have what you call the curricula, the pericurricular, and the extracurricular. The pericurricular are the things that help your curriculum, which go side by side with it. The extra are those other things, like, that are not really directly related, but which make the complete human being. So for us, quality control means you are not checking just the students, you are checking also the staff.